Okay, so the question was, when you're spending 5K a week in ad spend, how do you improve lead quality and lead volume when you are at a flat line and lead volume and lead quality are slowing down? Very normal at many levels of ad spend. Now, one of the key things that people do, which is good to an extent, is they'll just typically look at whatever the most recent split test is, and they will double down ad spend on that and then turn off the underperforming ads. In theory, that is not an incorrect thing to, that's not a bad thing to do. However, to break out of a flat line, albeit 20K a month in ad spend in this conversation, is you want to make sure that you're doing two things. You want to make sure that you are increasing the volumes of creatives that you're testing. So what I mean by that is, let's just say in a campaign that you're running, maybe if you're doing 5K a week in ad spend, let's just say you're testing 10 different creatives. So that's 40 different creatives per month, as an example. I would literally start by just increasing it from 40 creatives a month to 80 creatives a month. That in and of itself will create new variables, because when you're doing a test, there's a control variable, okay, and then there's a test variable. So you want to be constantly finding new control variables, and a great way to increase that is to add more creatives. Now, another thing you can do, it's going to sound a bit scary, but it's actually spend more temporarily. We had a stall for one of our campaigns, one of our alias companies in the healthcare space, and we were getting really high lead costs and low volume. So what we did was I said, hey, listen, instead of, as an example, 500 a day, triple it to 1,500 a day, but for 3 days. And long and behold, it was able to, thank you very much, we were really able to get that 3 increase a day, and then it led to an increase in results. So for example, if I start, so as I was saying, for example, if we're spending 500 per day in ad spend, right? And you're getting, no difference in variation, even though you're iterating all the time. I'm saying you can do 3 things. C for creatives, and then you can spend more. And spending more is scary, because who likes to spend more money? But the irony is, again, if we're talking about the increase in creatives, if you now turn 1,500 into 1,500 per day, and the thing is, it doesn't have to be for long. So let's look at the maths of this. If you're spending 500 a week, 500 times 7, 500 a day, times 7 is $3,500, okay? So that's $3,500. So if you're spending $1,500 for 3 days, then you're getting the same amount of money spent, but it's in a condensed time period to speed up the test. So $1,500 a day for 3 days as a container is still the same amount, right? I think I messed up the maths, but this is $4,500, but you get the point, right? So it's not about necessarily spending more holistically, it's creating a container. That container, for the sake of this example, is $4,500. So that's the second thing. You can spend more, and that can speed up the result, and that can give you the answer to the new creatives faster. Sometimes also, just spending more money in general allows you to outbid other competitors. So if a lot of competitors are getting leads at $30 per lead, and a lot of them are spending $1,000 a month, well, if you spend $5,000 for 2 months, now you're in a different echelon of media spend. So you are now able to attract a faster velocity of people, one, but also you're attracting a different set of people because the algorithm is going to favor you. So it might favor you with a better quality of people as well. That's the second thing. The third thing you want to do, so we've talked about creatives, we've talked about spending more money. The third thing you want to do when running ads, come to me. The third thing you want to do when running ads is you also want to vary up the medium. So for example, M for medium, CSM. So for example, if you've been using Meta, okay, and you've been using Meta for 2 years as a container, and things are flatlined, then maybe it's a really great opportunity to do something like YouTube ads. And you can try the same creatives, and that newness in and of itself might introduce some new data to you. So for example, if you notice with YouTube, you're really crushing it with certain pieces of creatives, then for whatever reason, people now might establish more emotional resonance with your YouTube content because it's long form, and it might retarget them. So now you can now use a retargeting campaign to go back to Meta. Or you can retarget them to go back to Meta, and now Meta can now be a live event, right? So all these things allow you to be able to actually get more data. That's really what the game is. The name of the game is to get more data. So when you use a different medium, YouTube ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, Snapchat ads, LinkedIn ads, you can now get data from that new medium and use it to retarget on the medium that was prior successful, which is more data. Now, the fourth thing that just came to my mind, and I remembered it, I need to contain it because it was in my mind, it's very important, is the Meta Lead Center. So Meta Lead Center. Now, this is going to give you guys advanced game. This is the kind of game I give my clients that pay me thousands of dollars a month, okay? So the Meta Lead Center essentially is where you can give feedback to Meta regarding your campaign. So imagine you had 50 leads, okay? And it came in a month, and out of the 50 leads, only 10 were qualified. You can use the Meta Lead Center to say, hey, listen, out of these 50 leads, these 10 were qualified, give me more of these, less of all these other ones. So by the second month, the Meta Lead Center, with its help, will allow your volume of qualified leads to be maybe 15 out of 50 qualified and 35 unqualified. Give feedback to Meta Lead Center again. By the third month, it might be 20 out of 50, et cetera, et cetera. Now, is that as straight lined as each month it's going to be a percentage increase? No, that's not how business works. But what you might find is that quarter on quarter, year on year, that the increase was gargantuan, it was huge. So what might be like a bit of like an up and a down is still a gradual up with the help of the Meta Lead Center. Okay, so those are the 4 things that you can do if you're getting stuck at 20K a month in ad spend or 5K a week in ad spend or other levels of ad spend, and you're realizing that you're flatlining, and the flatline's been evident for a month or 2 months or 3. These are 4 things that you can do and that I do, right, to actually get out of that rut. Test more creatives. Second thing is spend more money in a smaller container of time. The third thing is change the medium or add a medium and then use that new medium to retarget people back to the main medium. And the fourth thing you can do is use the Meta Lead Center to give feedback to the ads manager and to Meta so you can get stronger results. Now, if you like videos like this, guys, then you know where to find more of this. Just check the free Skool group in the description. And of course, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, think mega. Take care.